Good evening. Welcome back to Card Authority. Wednesday night,
Wednesday night.
a week after release. It's been a big week and a half since Footy Stars 2024 hit our
It
shelves.
has indeed.
Adam, Jenks.
I'm excited. I'm up and about. I don't know. A few people have actually said something like that. They've noticed that I seem to be up and about at the moment.
You're not on your camera though, properly. There you go.
Yeah, I feel like the year is off to an absolute cracker for footy cards.
Well, first of all, I've had lots and lots of people message me congratulating you on a fantastic first release. Obviously, if you're a new viewer of the show or a long-time viewer of the show,
Thank you.
everyone knows you own Select.
Sure.
Everyone knows you're pulling the strings.
Absolutely. Always.
Great job, lad.
Do you know what? This is one of those times I wish I could take credit. I wish I could take credit. I know we're going to delve into it, but I wish I could take credit because they've killed it. They've absolutely done it. By killed it in a good way. They've done an amazing job with this release. We're going to get into it.
Anyone that's been stuck under a rock, Footy Stars 2024 was released last Friday in a retail version, a hobby version, and a starter pack version.
Indeed.
As we've sort of touched on very briefly there, it has been a very successful release. Not going to take words out of Jenks's mouth, but Jenks, you are throwing around terms greatest Series 1 release ever.
Yeah, look.
Why?
I'm sure.
Tell me why.
There'll be plenty of people that are going to cut me down for it. I think it is the best Series 1 release ever in terms of like the output of all the different types of cards you're getting. I think in terms of the value of what you're getting in terms for a $4 a packet product, or obviously more expensive for the hobby version, but it equates to the same amount of cards anyway. Like, it's so far above what there's been in the past. Sure, we saw an introduction a couple of years ago with multiple numbered subsets and signatures, then we saw that disappear last year. But I just feel like this is so far and above beyond. So I've had trouble faulting it. Like, there are a couple of faults, and we'll talk about that.
Yep.
But to me, it's just enormous value in terms of what's coming out of the packet as a collector, as a flipper, for kids, whatever it may be. You just for such a small amount of money, you're just getting so much.
So for people that are perhaps newer to the hobby, explain the fundamental differences between, say, Footy Stars 2024 and Footy Stars 2017.
Yeah, okay, so Footy Stars, traditionally Series 1 product, up until this year was always a $2.99 a pack product for the last 25 years. It was a product that was always a pure play retail product available in the absolute massive mass market, supermarkets, post shops, 7-Eleven, servos, milk bars, everywhere had Footy Stars. And it was only in 36 packet box form and obviously starter packs. And it used to there was one numbered box hit. So you'd get one numbered box hit. And then there were case hits, obviously, in the way of Brownlow predictors and stuff like that. There was never a hobby variation. There was never more numbered subsets. There was never really big chase cards. And the one thing that there certainly wasn't was signatures for, almost a 20-year period. There's been a couple of Series 1 releases, one of them in 2022, which did have SIGs in it, and an earlier one as well. But then the way they've increased things with the predictors, two different types of predictors in terms of the print quantity, the platinums and the golds, but then now changing the chase so it wasn't just Brownlows, and then premiership predictors, which were historically in Series 2, came to Series 1. Then they moved into the Coleman, and then they moved into the Rising Star. There's a live chase, and there's fun, and there's action on a weekly basis with all those things in play all of a sudden, not just the Brownlows. So it creates all these fluctuations in the market throughout the course of a season, which makes it a bit more exciting. I don't know. I feel like there's so many aspects to this. For what it is, you can't be upset for what your outlay is. There's none of this like, paid $500 or $700 for a box of product and I was underwhelmed. It was shit. Even if you're getting a shit box of this product And again, I want to talk about the difference between hobby and retail at some point because there is a really big difference here. But it's like if you got a box of hobby, which obviously all SCC members had access to, then there was some in public on sale, and then stores, like the RGV store, for example, and many other stores around Australia,
Yep.
sold a lot of boxes to the public. At what, $170 a box? It's just your worst box is not even that bad. You're still getting a heap of really good hits, but you're not upset. It's like you didn't outlay the world, have huge expectations, then be shattered by not hitting good cards, be shattered financially about
Yep.
it. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So, obviously, there's been a lot of talk for, I guess it's floated around the community the last couple of years that Footy Stars is aimed as a mass market product.
Yeah.
But us as a hobby community have been guilty of almost trying to turn it into a hobby product.
Yeah.
And they've certainly tried to offset that the last couple of years with the
Yep.
introduction of Jumbo.
Yeah.
And then officially got renamed to Hobby last year, which has moved away Prestige, which was a Series 1.5, where
Yep.
we were first introduced to these platinum predictors.
Correct.
I think that they have done a fantastic job this year of providing enough meat on the bone in the hobby boxes for us as a hobby community. And look, we can talk about it now. Obviously, retail, they have wound back what is in the retail product in the form of numbered cards.
Yeah.
But we've kind of been crying out this for a while. Leave that there for the kids and the mass market punters. Us as the hobby market don't need to consume that. Obviously, there's cards in it that we need and we want.
Yeah.
But it's actually, it's setting a framework of creating something for hobby and then creating something for mass.
Yeah.
Which I think this is the first year we've seen a proper divide from that.
Yeah. And look, and again, that's something that we've talked about and the community's talked about pressing for. And, I suppose one of that reduction on numbered cards in Series 1 and all that sort of stuff due to not wanting to cause dilution and all these sorts of things.
Yep.
But with that being said, and like I've spoken to many people in the last couple of weeks since release, people have asked like, positives, negatives, criticisms, all these sorts of things. The one drawback this product does have is, and like it does tend to happen during, with product development for heaps of different things over the last few years, is it's probably gone too far in the other direction in terms of the retail product. And now there's such a huge disparity between retail and hobby, which you want there to be a different, and you want, one's obviously going to be more expensive price point, more cards coming out, more numbered cards and more targeted at collectors. But I think there's a mistake in terms of retail where there's hits there that needed to have been numbered to demonstrate the value in the boxes, because like that's where it's gone. What are we at? We were at 3 numbered hits guaranteed, 3 numbered box hits plus a potential case hit last year, and it's now gone all the way to 0 numbered case hits.
Yep.
So if you
box
hits, so if you don't get a case hit,
yep.
So if you don't get a predictor, if you don't get a predictor in your retail box,
yep,
then it's not a great situation.
So I think I like the fact that they have done
Luminous, we'll talk about on the side as well.
Yeah, let's leave Luminous for a second. I like the fact that they have got unnumbered versions as box hits and double box hits being the Ignites and the Future Forces.
Yeah.
What I think they could have done just to fill the gap a little bit, and I understand, we've never had to build a set. It is no doubt a nightmare with numbering.
Yeah.
But even if there'd been a card numbered to 1,000, do you know what I mean? 1 numbered card guaranteed to a box is probably the right adjustment that would have made.
I think at least. I think it needs to be at least. I would have thought 2, to be honest. But
if there's only 3 boxes per case that don't have a numbered hit.
Yeah, so 3 in every 12. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Which is one. Yeah. Okay. 1 in 4. I think there probably should have been 2 numbered cards, plus then your ability to get a 3rd numbered card, which would be your case hit.
And do you have any problem if it's numbered to like 1,000 or 2,000?
No. Oh, look, it's a double-edged sword there. So, like for example, Future Force and Ignite both have variations in retail.
Yep.
Obviously, the ones in hobby are numbered, was it 125 and 195 or something like that. Well, in my opinion, the retail versions, the cards obviously look different, which is great, but they should also be numbered. And you would expect that those versions would be numbered higher anyway because it's coming out of a more mass-produced product.
Oh, they'd be massive numbers.
Okay, so then it begs the question, okay, so if the issue there is actually, well, they'd be numbered to 1100 or 900 or 700,
Yep.
and that actually diminishes value, okay, then the question is, well, rather than just being a parallel of what's in hobby,
Something different.
yeah, or add 5 more players to it or 6 more
Yep.
players to it for each
Yep.
team, and then that's how you can bring the serial numbering down, obviously. But
Yep,
I
that's a good
feel
point.
like there's a big difference there. It's like as a collector, I'm looking at those cards, like the Future Force, for example, coming out of those retail boxes, and I'm going like, well, is $15 or $20 a good price for that card? How can I figure this out? Because they're not numbered. Like they're not
Sure.
numbered. Is it just another generic card that there's nothing special about it? You know what I mean? And
Yep,
obviously,
that's fair.
we've seen through our data they've been selling in that 15 plus range as well, which they probably should be. But yeah, it's I don't know. It doesn't have the same appeal, I suppose, as I know it's a box hit. You know it's a box hit because it's not numbered. It doesn't feel like it's a box hit type of thing. Like in a break, what happens in a break when we do breaks, for example,
Yep.
when we've done retail product breaks, the Future Force and the Ignite don't even make it up on the stand because the stand ends up only reserved for numbered cards.
So everything you're saying makes sense and is logical.
Yeah.
But is this exactly what I was just saying before about
The separation.
the separation?
Yeah.
Because we're now trying to turn it to make it with your view, which is not wrong, but you're talking as a hobbyist. Do you think
Sure.
your kids, for example, they're buying a box? Do you think they care if that Ignite is
No,
numbered
your
or not
average
numbered?
your average child doesn't understand the
Doesn't
concept
understand.
of numbering anyway, and it's not for them.
They see Sam Walsh or Patrick
Totally,
Cripps.
totally,
They don't
and I
care.
get that, and I suppose like the my position on the matter is coming from a selfish place, I suppose, where
course.
I'm thinking about it as a collector,
Yep.
and ironically, I'm now forgetting that it's designed initially for kids at Series 1.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a battle going on in my head between the collectability and the commerce side of things, and then the mass market availability and children side of things.
The
as well.
irony is,
Yeah.
and look, Shane, I'll touch on your question a little bit later. A higher end card's value is being impacted by the sheer amount of cards in the release. But what I wanted to touch on with that is that we do pricing guides and pricing matrices for all the releases.
Yeah.
The non-numbered box hits and dual box hits, being the Ignites and the Future Forces,
Yeah.
are actually overperforming.
Yeah.
They're overperforming what we predicted
Yeah.
they would,
Yeah.
which is a really good and strong thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually think the market has acted very, very similar to what we thought it would, and I
Yeah.
actually reviewed the prices
Yeah.
a couple of days
I think
ago.
our forecasting was pretty bang on.
Pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Yes, Richo, you still don't have your boxes from Select. So for people that don't know, and everyone in Western Australia will know, Janks has fucked up the train system and the weather on the Nullarbor. He flooded the Nullarbor.
That's what happens.
All jokes aside, though, our Ozpost rep has said to us that sometime mid next week, mail should start moving, but a lot of it is just stuck on a train in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I certainly feel for the people in Western Australia that have had retail boxes or boxes from Select that went snail mail,
Yeah.
because the snail is well and truly winning the race.
So I was going to say, I think one of the big offsets here to the entire conversation thus far is we're not factoring in the Luminous thing here.
Yep.
And that actually changes the dynamic of everything here, because what it does do to that retail product is all of a sudden turns it into something that you can actually get the big hits.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not looking at that 1 in 12 scenario trying to get a very particular case hit.
Yep.
Because some of these Luminous cards are so valuable as well that are coming out in boxes, packets, starter packs, all these sorts of things.
Yep.
So that is, so and that's the thing where I've been critical of the product and the load and how it's loaded and everything like that and what's in it. What we also need to remember here is that any potential downside in terms of like the output is completely offset by the Luminous cards as well.
Luminous.
and therefore the product itself on a box by box basis isn't diminished in value.
Luminous, whether you call it strategically planned.
It's an amazing move.
Amazing.
Amazing move. Amazing move.
One
Perfect timing.
thing for me as a
Yeah.
consumer and also as a breaker, the worst thing that can happen is getting a dead box.
Yeah.
Or you pull the hit out of the box and the box is dead.
It takes away the dead. Yeah,
Now
that's right.
there is just as good a chance to pull out another Luminous signature, stained glass,
Yeah.
numbered to 199, whatever it might be. The box is live, which
Absolutely.
is an absolutely fantastic addition to our product.
Yeah, and of course spread throughout all elements of it, the hobby, the retail boxes, but also then the starter packs. And the starter packs is the interesting one because that's where you actually get a bonus. Forget about what's coming out of the packets themselves. You also get a bonus Luminous in a starter pack.
We'll get to starter packs.
Which could be anything.
So obviously, look, we've touched on it, and we understand that retail is mass market, hobby is for hobby. Let's move to hobby because retail we can keep talking, the rub of the green. But hobby for $170, the hits and the value you get out of that combined with Luminous, I would argue that, and I'm certainly not suggesting you put the price up next year, Janks, all right? Because just don't be a shit bloke.
Yeah.
If that had come out at $199 a box, I don't think I'm upset.
Agree, but I also think the price point they've got to here,
it's very good.
It's based on obviously a formula, and it's in percentage terms.
I guess I'm more trying to say the value that you were extracting.
It's correct.
is really good.
Okay, and I think at the end of the day, we've seen a 25% price rise across the board on the product.
Yep.
Well, that obviously, it's relative in terms of one, there hasn't been a price rise for 20 years, and there should have been one over that period of time. It also takes into account circumstances at the moment and over the last couple of years with the cost of doing business, everything from shipping and fuel and materials and card and manufacture, all these sorts of elements. The price rise is absolutely correct. 25% is right. I don't think it should have gone higher.
Agree.
And I wouldn't like to see it go higher for mainline products, pre-existing products.
I'm not suggesting
that. Yeah, and I definitely wouldn't want to see that. But, is it something that we'll see in other products that come out from Select and the card companies? I would expect you will probably see
the other products
happening. And we've seen that happen.
They've been getting the organic price rise over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You think back to Series 2. Series 2 has jumped up substantially over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Which needed to happen. But yeah, I think that the value that you extracted from hobby, the numbered hits, the Luminous,
the SIGs, the Absolutes, and the SIG Redemptions. Yeah, it's excellent.
Yep. Yeah. Why so many commons in the hobby packs, Dean is asking. I think that there is still a large amount of collectors that like to collect base cards. So when you have effectively a hobby pack is 2 single retail packs.
Yeah.
It's effectively 18 packs in 18 in a box. So they're effectively just doubling it.
Yeah.
So you're getting double the amount of commons that you would in a normal retail pack is the simple way to answer it.
Yeah.
We've constantly joked while doing breaks, it'd be nice if there were no commons at all. But then you're effectively getting to a lot more serious products.
Yeah.
Lots of people want the common cards. Lots of people do base sets. It's just the nature of the business.
Yep. Absolutely.
There have been some questions there. Sorry, they
let's
scroll past me a little bit fast.
All right.
That's always standard same stuff. Do you think unnumbered box hits hold value due to kids getting hold of the cards and possibly getting lost and damaged over the years? So Shane, this is an interesting point, and I've certainly spoken about this internally with the guys, and we might have talked about it.
We've talked about it in the past on the podcast quite a few times.
So a number to 99 Luminous signature, the Myriad signature, even though they're numbered to 99, I actually think it's somewhere, the true real numbering is somewhere around 40 because...
So I was going to say, I think it's probably 50 to 60 just because of the hobby product as well.
That's a good point.
And the fact that the whole hobby market has gone after the starter packs too.
The percentage of these cards that either end up in kids' folders, in their drawer. They don't know what they are. Also, the product gets consumed for months and months through major stores
to
like
the far
Coles and 7-Eleven.
reaches, and
Yep.
that's the thing. This goes regional. It goes to secondary markets. It goes to small little communities and towns.
Yep.
Boxes never get opened. Cards get consumed. They get discarded. They get put in folders. They get put in wheel spokes. They get thrown around at
Wheel
school. They
spokes.
get confiscated. They get binned. They get
Yeah.
burnt. Everything you can imagine happens to this product because it's so accessible.
And there's a big difference between the card when I say doesn't appear. There's a big difference between the card getting redeemed by some mum that their child has it and the card hitting the hobby community.
Yeah.
And when I say that, it means it gets put on eBay or it gets shown in a group or it gets traded or swapped.
Yeah.
There's just a huge percentage of cards from Footy Stars that just don't hit the hobby segments.
And that's right. It's because of how it's getting consumed. And I might just segue that Nico Kessa has brought something up, which also
Do you want me to read that?
Yeah, so it directly relates to the consumption, because the next thing that happens after consumption is sending it to someone else. So,
Yep.
yeah, if you wanna read
Unfortunately,
that out.
some of these big hits end up in the hands of inexperienced collectors. Then you buy from them and end up with a $400 card in a sandwich bag.
Yeah. So what Nico's talking about there is
That's
essentially
classic eBay.
Yeah, and that's classic eBay and classic Facebook for Footy Stars and other Series 1 product.
Yep.
Where you've got kids, young adults accessing packets of products through, again, service stations, all these different types of things.
Yep.
They go home. It starts off with just pack this, what's it worth, eh? Or PM offers or whatever it may be.
Classic Wild West
You
group.
get a deal done, or you buy a card off someone on eBay. And as people in the hobby, we have an expectation, and just quick one here for anyone who does want to look at it, if you go on the Card Authority website,
Yep.
we do have the diagrams and everything of how to correctly post something.
Yep.
But your average person has got no idea. And as a result of that, yeah, exactly as Nico says, someone gets lucky, they hit a SIG card or redemption, whatever, you go buy it off them, you think that they're going to treat that card the same way you would, but you forget that they're just some random that doesn't actually have experience. They're doing a quick cash in. Yeah, the card arrives 4 days later in a plain white paper envelope, or maybe a green envelope at best. If you're lucky, it's got some cardboard wrapped around the card. If you're
I won't show
unlucky,
the front,
it's a loose card in a sandwich bag if you're
Actually, no, I
lucky.
can. This is how you got something today.
Yeah, I had something today that came like that,
And a
literally.
bit of cardboard.
Yeah. I don't know what's in there now.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, there's a toppy in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally, it was this, and it was a piece of cardboard with 3 Thunderbolts.
And just
in
for the
sleeves.
record, that's not how you should be sending
Yeah.
a card.
Yeah, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable.
Lean back a bit, Jenks, because you look like you're trying to.
Sorry.
And the camera's going nuts,
kiss
trying to
you.
follow you. Will we do a top 10 hit list from the series? I mean, we could probably do one off the top of our heads, but I mean, the top 10 hit list, obviously, your signatures across the blacks and the myriads, the predictors for a chase value.
Yeah.
The absolutes are a beautiful
They
card.
look unbelievable.
On a lower level, the club royalties are great. One of your favourites, the Ignites.
So if you watched the review that we did of the release shortly after the preview,
Yep.
I said the card that I disliked the most was the Ignite. As AJ is my witness, as soon as we started ripping some boxes open, I said the Ignite is actually with the one with the flames, the hobby numbered Ignite,
Yep.
best looking card in the release.
Yep.
Lots of people will disagree with me, but I'm completely converted. Like, I reckon that's the best looking card in the release.
So
outside of the absolutes, and I think the absolute that comes out of retail
is beautiful.
looks better than the absolute black that comes out of the hobby product.
Yep.
So ironically, the one that's numbered higher and probably worth less money, I think is an unbelievable looking card. Like, you compare that to a Virtuoso, a Showstopper, a Marquee, that's the equivalent card to those releases. I reckon it looks unreal.
Yep. And Brent, we sort of have touched on this a little bit, but why are you seeing so many more absolute black signatures versus the myriad sigs? Yeah, look, simply that the hobby product is being consumed almost to 100% now.
Yep.
Everyone has opened it. There was only 700 cases, 8,400
Okay.
boxes.
This is a perfect opportunity. What do you think consumption rates are right now of hobby and retail? How much has been opened?
Well, let me just finish my
Yeah,
spiel before we get to that.
Sorry.
So, yeah, hobby, a majority of it has already been opened. Retail and starter packs, there is still so much where that's where those myriad SIGs are. So, the reason we haven't seen them is because A, it's not open, or it's been consumed in other networks outside the hobby community.
Yeah.
So, that's why you haven't seen as many of them. I know, for example, Dusty Myriad non-SIG, I haven't held one in my hand. I don't have one. There just aren't many around. Yeah, Mitch said, let me finish.
Mitch. I'm sorry.
Hey, I've got a question for
No,
you, James.
that's my question.
No,
I want to
James,
know what you think.
what
the numbers.
percentage of hobby stock do you think's been open?
I want to know what you think because I'm interested to see if we're in line with each other.
85%.
And retail?
30.
Okay. So I think hobby is 70 to 80% opened already. And I think retail is only 20 to 30%. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I think the
20 is low, but yeah,
I
it's
think
not
also
a huge,
based on the delayed distribution to certain parts of the country and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like starter packs has been consumed massively, and there's amazing value.
Well, you've been
in
team
those.
starter for a long time.
Obviously, the whole community, the whole hobby sector has made sure that no kids will be getting starter packs at Kmart this year, and
Yeah.
has bought up the entire marketplace of Kmart starter packs, which is understandable.
Yep.
Considering you could basically get the whole money back just off the one card that came out, and then you're getting 3 packets for free. So,
Yep.
whatever, that's how it goes. Prices are fluctuating, they're changing. I got stitched up early. I'll be the first to admit it. Happy to say it. And it is what it is, but
But those prices historically won't matter.
I paid, I don't know if you remember this,
I remember.
AJ, about day 1 or day 2 for one of those Kmarts. I paid, I think it was $35 and $25 for another one,
Yeah.
which I'm happy to have paid that price, but I've also picked up a bunch around the $10
I
mark.
left a poll in your...
Yeah, I've picked up a bunch around the $10 mark as well. That's just how it goes. And as we always say, you want the cards early.
Just got to pull the
You
trigger.
just got to pull the trigger on something.
So Stan, 60% hobby. The reason I probably challenge that number, I think it's high. And I guess we have a little bit of insight on this because obviously we have a store and also a break business.
Yeah.
You can't buy hobby boxes anymore. So there's no more stores that have them.
Yeah.
Select is sold out from them. Majority of SEC has been sent and opened.
They're either on eBay or with breakers.
Correct. So, the number of 80 or 85 that I said, it actually might be low because 80 or 85 would imply that there's still like 2,000 odd boxes or 1,500 odd boxes out there. It might be even a higher number than 80 or 85.
Yeah.
Like we know firsthand, we've obviously got a little bit of stock for breaks tucked away. We've got very little, very little.
We've got a week or two's worth of
we don't
break
have
stock
very much
left,
at all.
and that's it.
And no one really does.
Yeah.
Hi Gribbler. Hope you're enjoying the ice cream van tonight.
Bailey Brown.
Bailey Brown, what are your thoughts on regular starter packs with a chance of a myriad SIG versus Kmart starters where it's only the green and the yellow? So I guess there's 2 different aspects of this.
Yeah.
Dale's still got 120 hobby cases. Go on to Cherry. Message Dale Edmonds now.
Free.
He is selling hobby boxes, $170 free shipping.
Yeah.
Message Dale, message Blake, message the Cherry Facebook page. Dale, that's very generous of you. Thank you, Dale. 120 hobby cases, 1,000 boxes. Go see Dale now.
Well done, Dale.
Well done, Dale. You're a true champion of the hobby.
But back to one of Dale's good mates, Bailey Brown.
Yes.
And his question.
So it depends, Bailey. It's like when we were last year looking at the pink essentials. If you're looking to get those pink cards to fill your set, you're not going to find those cards or the Kmart cards anywhere else.
But it's also like early on you are guaranteed from an exclusive that's with Kmart that's going to be numbered between 80 and 130 or 140.
I think they're not too, yeah.
Yeah, 130 I think Select said they are those Kmart cards that you know straight away that you can free roll the rest of the starter pack. That you can those individual cards are going to get you $10+.
Those cards are going to sell for $10
straight away.
Like, okay, there's a lot of them around at the moment, but they're going to sell for $10 forever.
Yeah, but it's a really interesting question. So, I suppose the rational way to think is, well, all day, every day, you should just be buying the Kmart ones, knowing you're getting the money guaranteed. There's no risk.
Maybe.
There's no risk involved. But the risky side of me is like,
you want to gamble.
I want to take the punt on the regular starters.
Yeah.
Especially because I've seen so many SIGs and so many of the refractors coming out and the stained glass or whatever they're called.
Yep.
The myriads and
And we've certainly seen that when
Yeah,
we've done.
but then the Luminous is also coming out of the packets as well. So you're not discounting it in the Kmart ones. You're just not guaranteed the extra opportunity.
They're incredibly good value,
very
regardless
smart.
of the start.
It's very smart.
Yeah,
it's very
good.
smart.
That's
What
good.
Selector's done here is extremely smart with this release.
Yep.
Someone I saw wrote earlier, like Select could have done, it's so good they could have done Luminous as a standalone release.
Yep.
Absolutely agree with that. But I think this is actually a very intelligent move, well thought out, very smart, very strategic, because it gave them an opportunity to do something to solidify value in a Series 1 product without having to either completely overhaul it or keep adding and adding and adding until you get to the point of just mass dilution.
So that you actually, this is going to be something I was going to bring up later on. So Luminous. 12 months' time,
Yes.
do you want to see Luminous as a standalone release, or do you want to see Luminous as being the buddy of Footy Stars moving forward?
I want to see it continue. I don't know. I don't even know if I want to see it continue.
Say
I don't know if I want to see it continue.
Say there's legacy this year.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there is, don't start the rumor, I'm just, whatever, Series 2.
I want to see it carried through that?
And they
No.
do Legacy Luminous.
Okay, so to answer...
If they do Brilliance Luminous or Supremacy Luminous.
So, if the intention was that Luminous, whatever...
Say it 3 times.
Is only for 2024 and it's a one-time thing, then carry it through. 100% carry it through the releases for this year.
Yep.
If it's something that they want to continue moving forward with beyond 2024, then no, it should be stuck exclusively to Series 1, whatever, if that's Footy Stars or some other incarnation of Series 1.
Yep.
And option 3 is following the interest and success that it's and notoriety it's achieved from being as attached to Footy Stars, do they take it and turn it into its own standalone release moving forward in some way, shape or form? And again, if that was the case, I think that would be a 2025 thing.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So
What I don't want to see is all of a sudden this random situation where we start having Luminous with attached to 4 releases per year for the next 3
you
years.
open your Supremacy box and
Yeah,
you get a Luminous
it's like,
card on the top.
I don't know. It's like, don't spoil a good thing.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
You know what I mean? Like
That's the answer.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah.
It's critically acclaimed right now, or what you could call critical acclaim, where people, the critics, are all proclaiming it to be fantastic. Why not let that be its own legacy, pardon the pun there?
So let me pose this. Forget about Luminous as a series, okay? Do we like the fact that you can have a 35-point release
Yeah.
and a 55-point release that play together?
Yeah.
Do you like that concept?
I think it's cool. I don't see any issues with it.
Because I imagine from a Select side of things, that allows them a lot more flexibility in print runs, producing more product, because you don't have to mess with numbers. Suddenly cards that you're worried about trying to get numbered to 100 or 120, you don't need to dilute them.
Yeah.
Because you can then go and throw in these super rare cards that might be numbered to 199,
Totally.
but there's 2 of them a case.
Correct. And that's the thing. Thunderbolts are a great example. Cards numbered to 599.
Yep.
So, if people remember back to 2016, 2017, certified 460s were the big thing back then. They effectively ended up being $1 cards, $1.50, $2,
Yep.
whatever it is. These are numbered even higher, but the physical difference and what you're getting in terms of the physical card attributes is far superior to the 460s, numbered to only 460. But also the ability to hit them is so difficult. We opened 10 cases. I've bought and traded for a pile of them. Before we started the podcast, I was just working with my mail, getting it into my master set, my folder and everything. I'm still like 10 Thunderbolts short. I have only 4 Thunderbolt Refractors. Like, it's... The numbering is not a reflection
How rare they are.
of
Yep.
not necessarily how rare they are, but how often they're going to become available, how accessible they are. Yes, at the end of the day, cool, there's 599 of each of them, but where are those 599?
Well, Dale has 120
Who's
cases.
going to end up with them? Are they ever going to come to market? Do they see the light of day?
That's true.
It's not like someone's opening every packet and getting one. Like it's not happening at that frequency.
And it's a big chase. There's 22 players for that subset.
Yeah.
So if you're only getting one a packet,
Yeah.
that's you've got to open a huge amount of stock to be able to get them.
Yeah. Again, I really, it's going to sound like a real suck up job, but it's not. And my ritual is when I come in here to the Card Authority RGV HQ, is I come into the studio, into the office. There's either a pile or AJ hands in my mail. I pull out my folder. I pull out my account box for the release, and I quickly update everything. Put my cards in the folder. Put the doubles in the count box, and that's that.
And then you head home.
Yeah, but normally, like when you do Series 1, it's just like...
It's done.
It's a chore, you do it.
Yep.
You get the cards as a team collector, team master collector, you just get the cards, you shove them in the folder. You generally have one subset per series, which is the nut case hit that doesn't go in the folder, goes in a hard case, and it ends up on display.
It's a true chase.
This is like, I look at my folder that I'm building this set into, and I'm like, fuck me. There is half a folder of pages here, and this is awesome. Like, these cards look awesome. Like, it's not just some bobbleheads and this. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know. It's very hard to explain. I have not had this experience with Series 1 before. I'd love to hear in the comments if anyone else is feeling this way. Maybe not as passionate about it as I am, but like, I don't know, I'm vibing big time on this. In a big way.
I definitely feel like a lot of people are re-engaged and motivated from the release.
Everything seems so positive.
And one thing I will say, while and again, you know, this is not cash for comments whatsoever, but another thing I think Select absolutely fucking nailed was the white Luminous albums.
So I actually haven't looked at that yet.
They
I know
are
I've got them on the shelf. I haven't even looked at them.
excellent.
Yeah.
Like, I can't stand generally the branded albums. They absolutely hit that out of the park.
Yeah.
If you just wanted to collect Luminous cards, you don't want to deal with Footy Stars, the plain white album with the zip is just beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, really good.
So
Mark's saying the album's elite. Yeah.
So the other interesting thing here, which has been brought up with me privately, is obviously, and we talked about it in the previous podcast, about the thickness and the finish with all the gloss and the sheen and everything that's going on it causes the cards to bow.
Yeah.
And people have raised it that, especially ones in the starter packs, are coming very bowed because they're not stacked in with any other cards in a packet that are flattening them.
How can you fix that?
Well, you can put in top loaders is the way to do it.
And that'll straighten it out
Yeah,
naturally?
top loaders should naturally flatten them out. But I would like do a heap at a time. If you want to flatten them out and you're planning on keeping them in top loaders, we'll put them all into a box together or lay them on each other for a while or whatever it is. But it's a really interesting one because I had a collector, I'm not going to name him, he can, if he wants to pop up in the comments, he can, but he said to me, he's a Team Master Set collector, and said like, oh, I'm a bit frustrated. I've had to take the Luminous cards out of my album set, and I'm now going to have to top load and store them all because they're bowing. And I know.
So why does that happen? Explain to people that apparently are a little bit more new to cards.
Okay, so there's a few aspects.
And we explain the card bends.
It's got to do with the thickness of the card and then the material over the top. So when they lay film, so gloss, don't think of gloss as being like sprayed on. Think of gloss as being a sheet. So the whole sheet, it's printed, and then the whole sheet is covered, and then it's cut afterwards. It's not like an afterthought.
So this one's probably not a great example.
No, but you can see the bow in it.
Yeah.
So what happens is that gloss, as it contracts and expands.
Is that as they layer it?
Well, no, it also happens after the fact. So based on the temperature and the climate and the humidity and everything, it's constantly contracting and expanding, basically. And as a result, as it contracts, it's pulling into itself from the corners and the edges, which then creates the bow. So that's where the bow is coming from. Back to my story as like a collector, and again, I'm interested to see other people's, who are in the same situation here and what they're doing about it. I've decided to leave the Luminous still in my folder set. I acknowledge that, yes, the pages that have them in them are looking bowed and stuff a bit, but I also believe that over time, as that folder continues to fill out more, the weight of the cards over time, and then once it's in storage and everything, it will either flatten itself out within the folder, or two, if I have real concerns in the future, I know that I can always put them into top loaders or whatever in the future and get them flattened out. And make no mistake, this is not new. This is not a first. It's not even a first from the last few years.
Yep.
There are cards. I reckon it was the 2006 Brownlow medal winners or something like that. There's a heap of cards from... there was a Fraser Gary card. There was a heap of them from a couple of releases that were bowed. And I know because I remember I found an old stash of them, and when I went to sell them all, and the very famous Brad Bevan, there were some Ben Cousins ones, I think. And I remember it was one of the first transactions I did. And I remember showing the cards, and I was like, "Hey mate, I don't know if you want to actually buy these. They're bowed." And the response I got back was, "Yeah, mate, no worries. It's an easy fix. I can just stack them up." So I think he said, "I'll stack them up on each other in the safe."
Yep.
To do it, and that's how I learnt about that originally as well. So there you go.
Yeah, and look, Andrew Kensington mentioned Panini Prism is a good example, and we've certainly seen that. And you being an avid Prism collector,
Yeah.
no time for the jar story today.
Yeah.
But people all know that joke. So Delta Romeo Hotel has a good question.
Definitely a real name, that one.
Yep, I will sort of scan over it quickly. And this is a very valid point. So for people that do like to collect their cards and put it into an album, why does Select not do multiples of 9 when they are, say, doing a base set so you can fit it all on one page?
Oh, it's bloody frustrating.
Is it annoying?
Oh, it's a killer.
So are you a blank gapper, or do you half put sets on half pages?
Okay. I need to show you. Like, it's hard to explain it. Can I just run out and get a folder?
Sure.
I'm doing it. This is how you know this is real and live.
Oh, the camera's going to
The
follow you.
camera's coming for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jenks runs off. I don't know where the camera's going to go. So yes, common question. I certainly like for OCD value for them to.
It kills me.
Yeah, it kills you. All right, show.
All right, so
Now direct your camera so you can see it.
you do the camera directly.
Yeah. Tip it up a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the start of my 2024 album, and what will usually happen is I'll get Series 1 in here, and then Series 2, and that,
keep
and that
flicking.
will fill the
It's
album.
not an infomercial.
Okay, it's really annoying stuff. Really annoying. Let me find the start of the set, basically. Because they're not numbered to 9, here, this is the way to do it. So because they're not numbered to 9, they don't sequence correctly. So look at this set, the base, I've got 3 cards at the bottom, and then look at this obscure amount. And then I don't want to leave these spots blank, so I have to start the Thunderbolt set there. And then the Thunderbolt set is all over the place. And the Thunderbolt set is going to finish with 3 cards on an entirely different page.
Enough.
So to answer the question,
You're not a blank spacer.
I'm not a blank spacer. It's extremely frustrating that the cards aren't all done in 9s. But then we wouldn't get all the good stuff, I suppose.
Okay. So hopefully that answers your question. But yes, Select, if you're listening, Jenks, bring this up with your meeting.
I'm glad other people do
Yeah.
the same thing as me as well. Thank you.
But I know in Series 2 they've been really good at that.
Yeah.
Where they'll have like 18 and then a logo.
It's real first world problems type of stuff.
Yeah. Jimmy Lawson just said the same thing as well.
Yeah.
Can you fix it, Cobber? Come
Yes.
on. Yeah.
Cheers, bye.
There were some other questions there. We got scanned by you showing off your collection. Sorry, let me just keep scrolling back. Yardo, thank you. Thank you for the compliment. Thanks, lots of good compliments. Thanks a lot. I used to fill blank spaces with header cards and keep it to 1 set per page. Yeah, but that's the problem when you've got, say, 22, you've got like 4 on one page because it goes 9, 9,
So
4, and then you've got these.
Well, traditionally, what I'll do is use the highlight cards and the Auskick variations.
And you can also
stuff.
use the premiership signatures for all the
of
secure
course.
ones. Yeah.
But I'll use the Auskick and the highlights throughout the season to fill the blanks.
Yep.
But then I've been running into a problem. So many Saints players are getting highlights and rising stars now. It
would be a massive
throws it out
issue.
of whack as well. So yeah.
I also know that I've done things previously where, say, if it's daylight numbers, then midnight numbers, and something else, I'll run a line of blacks and then a line of whites and then whatever, and try to do it player lined, opposed to sets. But it's frustrating. Fix it up, Jenks.
I'll do better.
All right, do better.
I'll try to
Do better.
I'll try to do better. What else we got?
What's the justification to fill the blanks, Janks? Pardon the rhyme. Well, is it just OCD?
Yeah.
Is that why you don't want empty spots?
It's weird, right? Because then I have to think to myself, what card am I missing in the set? And I'm forever trying to figure it out. And when you have a whole sequence of folders, which I'll get Butters to do a decent photo and post on Card Authority so you can understand what I'm talking about. But like, it gets really confusing, and you probably just noticed them when I showed my folder. I have blanks there. So look at that. It's zooming on me because I'm moving my fingers.
Yeah. Oh. Just put your hands down.
How bizarre.
Yeah, because it's autofocus.
The camera auto-zoomed. So I have blank spaces cards in the folder, which I write down what it should be, and that's so I don't throw things out of sequence, because the last thing you want to do is pull all the cards out to then have to put them back in because you missed one spot.
Yep, for sure.
So, yeah.
Steve, team coach is next week. Now you got to go like this. Like with your hand. I don't want to do it, otherwise it's going to... Oh my God, this is just... Technology gold.
Keep going.
Keep
It's all good. I'll just roll my chair back.
Hang on a sec.
Oh, we're back.
And then I'll turn that on again. Oh no.
It's all good.
There we go. Kind of. I don't know. It's like you're on a current affair. Not the first time for that as well. Completely just wheels are gone. Thank you, Crispy, for the recommendation. Yeah, team coach next week. I put extras in empty spots. That's it. E.g. lows or jumper numbers. That's not a bad idea, Jimmy.
Yeah, but that doesn't work for me.
Jimmy knows. Well,
you know why, Jimmy?
Jumper number on lows.
Because, no, the jumper numbers are separate, the O1s are separate, but my folder sets are on constant upgrade mode to try and get low numbers.
Yeah.
But yes, lots of different options, no right or wrong, no rhyme or reason to it.
Yep.
Whatever suits you and your collecting style, whatever cards you want to do, however you want to do it, I'm all for it.
Let's go. It's like Telegator Nights. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
How hard is it to make a milestone number set? Yeah, the milestones, we certainly know with the cards that are being sold on our eBay and people coming in the store, the milestones are hard to get.
Can we just talk about performance of this release quickly?
Whatever you want. This is your barbecue, mate.
All right. Because I feel like, let's go back to our roots here and talk about some data-related stuff, which is what we always say, Card Authority, we don't act and we don't do things based on emotion. We are data-driven.
Yep.
And fortunately, because we're also in the business of trading cards, whether that's through RGB breaks or RGB collectibles or randomly generated victories or the really good vibes, location and platform, all these sorts of things. We gather data from a number of different sources, and therefore we can paint a real picture of what's going on, not an emotional based picture on an individual sale or a certain type of card, whatever it may be. So we track data heavily. It's not just a release thing to see where the release is at, it's also to see where the total market's at and give us an indicator.
Yep.
It is fair to say...
Your big head is really putting me
It's
off.
fair to say that this release has gone bananas.
Absolutely.
If you are a reseller of cards, you're in the business of selling cards,
Yep.
I think we'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who would be complaining about how they have done out of this product.
Yep.
The volume of sales we have done through our eBay store, the price per card, the total cards sold, and the amount of different buyers is almost double what it was in 2023.
Well, Butters...
It's actually insane what's going on. We have the same amount of cards. We opened the same amount of product.
Yep.
And we've sold more, and we've higher generated price per card on average as well.
Butters ran all this data for me a couple of days ago. We had 140% increase in individual buyers going through our eBay this year.
Amazing.
And it's actually across all channels. Also, of selling, obviously we sell stock through our website and in our store, but online, the amount of people that bought boxes, and we track whether or not they're flippers and stuff because we can see whether it's first-time orders and stuff like that. We had, triple figures of individual buyers, repeat customers come in to buy boxes online. The engagement rate and the interest rate of the product has been insane.
Yeah.
Break numbers are big, all this kind of stuff. The numbers are just super big.
And it's not just for us; it's across the board everywhere.
Every retailer has
and we
done
say
well.
it, and that's the thing. Like, obviously, we're very focused on what we do, but we're focused on the health of the marketplace as well.
Sure.
We consider ourselves just a player. We just our intention, and we've never made any secret of it, is we want to grow cards. We want to grow the whole market and continue to be a player in that market.
Sure.
So on that basis, we don't want to see what the competition, we'll call them, are doing because we're concerned about how they compete with our business.
We want to see it's growing.
We want to see growth, and we want to see people doing well. We want to see good operators doing better, and especially in the break space, and especially in the reseller / dealer space. And from the data sets that we can see publicly available based on how many breaks other people are doing, what yield, so how much they're charging in total per break and per box and all that sort of stuff, it's the numbers for a Series 1 release and the start of a cycle of cards for a calendar year, it's enormous.
It's huge,
and from a business perspective, people in the business of cards should be very excited. People collecting cards should be excited about what's going on with the quality of the cards and the way you can attain cards and get things. The people, any level of participation in this hobby, no matter what it is, people should be excited. I think we're in a totally different spot to where we were 12 months ago.
So something that we talk about a lot, and this is very interesting timing with the podcast because we are almost 2 weeks on Friday for the release. We talk about the peaks and troughs and what's known as the flood. And we're not talking about the flood that's in the Nullarbor at the moment. The flood of cards that hit the secondary market, both in the hobby space on eBay.
Yeah.
The flood has come and it has washed away.
Yeah.
Like
Everything just got snapped up.
Yeah, everything's getting bought. Obviously there are, I know there's going to be people sitting there going, well, I'm trying to sell XYZ and can't sell it. Doesn't mean every single card is getting sold.
We're talking in a broad sense. Yeah.
It's not a situation where there are 15 Liam Baker signatures sitting out there for sale. There are a couple. There's not 15 Mitch Owens signatures sitting there. They're not. You're talking about a couple, and they may or may not have sold for whatever reason. We have a couple of clients that we buy cards for. I'm struggling to get the cards. Like the flood in theory has not been as beneficial or not as strong as it has been in previous years.
Yeah, it's not as sustained as what it would normally be. It's been very short-lived.
And I think there's a couple of reasons for that.
Yeah.
One is that there are more people consuming.
As you said, if the numbers are up 120% of the 140% of individual buyers, it shows how many new people are participating. We also see it with Good Vibes.
Yeah.
And the amount of people trying to join that page. We see it across all our commercial business pages, breaks and everything else as well.
Yep.
So for sure.
Matthew Howard said,
really good, and Matthew Howard, and it connects back to Buddha as well. Yeah.
I find it a bit disappointing the drop in ability to actually trade. Everything is buy and sell for the most part I've seen. Matthew, I think there's two parts to that. I think trading has actually boomed over the last couple of years, and it definitely depends on the groups that you're involved in. Obviously at Good Vibes, there's lots of people doing trades. It's a trusted, respected community. Out in the Wild West pages, it's a bit harder to trust new names you haven't seen.
Sure.
But I also
think time is an issue for people too.
Correct. Some people, and I had a customer come in the other day, and he had a Dacos Brownlow predictor, and he wants to trade it for a certain card.
Yeah.
And I won't expose who it is. I won't say it is, but I said, look, mate, it's actually better. You've got a card with some real currency there.
Yeah.
Go and sell it, and then go and buy whatever you want.
So there's that
instead of trying to get two.
But I know from my personal perspective, I've harped on about how much I enjoy and try and trade for years, and the importance of trading for years.
Yep.
But in the last 12 months, even more so 9 months, I found myself in this position where, due to this and everything else we're doing and family commitments, I don't have the time, but also the competitive nature of how many people are also looking for Security cards these days too.
Yep.
It's not just an open platter, for me anymore.
Yep.
And as a result, I've actually had to pivot to that exact position that the guys are talking about here, where I don't have the time to do the trade, and I'm just pulling the trigger on purchasing, buying off eBay, buying off Facebook. I set myself price ranges. When cards appear at those price levels, I pull the trigger and make the purchase.
Yep.
I would love to be trading stuff, just don't have the time to do it.
It's time consuming.
And it's also probably a bit different how we do our inventory now. But yeah, I feels like I can definitely relate to what Matthew's saying here. It feels like everything is financial based transactions, but I think in percentage terms, it's probably the same as it's always been. The amount of people trading versus the amount of people buying and selling, just the overall quantity of everything's gone up.
I also think too,
There's
Matthew,
a lot more
that let's use a Dacos Brownlow predictor, for example. You know, if you wanted to go and trade that for a signature, in the past, there were more people more willing not to want to spend the money on that predictor. Now, everyone knows that they can convert a lot of those cards to a sale really, really quick. You've got to put your head back. It's really creepy.
Sorry.
It's super creepy.
Sorry, because I can't see the comment.
Use your phone. So, yeah, look, I think that's why trades are a little bit hard, but it does happen. And Harps is, saying that I'm a big fan of trading in the community. Look, you've just got to make sure you're in the right groups and the right communities. There's lots of really good ones around. There's lots of people that, are happy to trade. That was funny. Another customer made a mention to me the other day that he said that there certainly probably the newer guys that are in, no one wants to lose in a trade. So a lot of times people are
they
more
forego a card because they're being stubborn about
they
want the value. They want the value back. Yeah,
they prefer to buy it rather than trade, just in case they feel like they're getting on the wrong side of it.
Yeah.
Jenks, any interest in a Platinum Saints Rising Star predictor? No, Tom.
Not yet, Tom, but we'll see. In a few weeks, you might be able to absolutely stitch me up for it if we get some performance. Justin Cranston, did I buy the 01 Saints Coleman? Yes, I did under the radar.
No, you didn't.
Under the radar, but I got a very good price on it. I got a really good deal. He was
spending money.
He was very reasonable. Jared did a really good deal on it. So that's back-to-back 2 years in a row for me to have the 01 predictor.
The non-winning predictor.
Just in case a Saints player somehow wins it. Otherwise, I paid the most money for a losing predictor of all time.
Maybe. Look, we are about to tick over the 1 hour mark. Just before we move on, or sort of we look to wrap up, talk to me about what you think could have been done better. Footy Stars, we've sat here for an hour talking about all the good things. You're walking into Select Monday morning as you do as the owner.
I'm telling you, my only...
What are you improving? How are you making Footy Stars 25 better?
My only criticism is, and again, I don't know if it was a planning thing or if it's an oversight issue or if it's really specific or whatever. We should actually pose the question to Select and get an answer on it.
I'm seeing them next week.
The numbering of the box hits in retail, or the lack of numbered box hits. So again, whether that was numbering the existing variation cards, the Future Force and the Ignite, or adding in some sort of numbered box hit of some sort. To me, that is literally my only criticism. And to be fair, I'm making the criticism because you're asking me the question of what can I be critical about. Every single release in the past, we find things. We nitpick, as we should, as collectors, as consumers, as the people that are ultimately funding this product and therefore the hobby. We look for those things. We find the negative straight away. I've struggled to find it with this release, especially, again, going back to the price point of this release. If there's people out there, and there would be people out there that are salty about this release and not happy with it, I'd have to look at their entire history and assume that they've never been happy with anything in their life.
Probably fair.
Or in the life of cards. They would be the serial whingers, you know what I mean?
The Jimmy Lawsons of this world.
Yeah, absolutely. The Jimmies.
Love you, Jimmy.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Credit to them. Credit to them.
Yep.
They sometimes watch the podcast. This time I'm, straight down the lens here, absolutely done a killer job.
Well, your face is so close.
Job.
They're definitely going to see it.
And again, as a Saints person, just stoked to see most of the cards.
The player representation.
The player representation
has been really good across the board.
But also the image selection. It looks like they've picked images from 2023 of everything they possibly could.
Yep, agree.
And as a result, the cards are reflective of that. You know what I mean? And there's other use for cards outside of just collecting them. You know, and a few other people. I've got a 2023 team jersey. I didn't get it framed last year because I could never find a card that would have the photo on it.
Yep.
Bang. This release, Series 1, I'm going to get a set of the 22 Thunderbolts, put it in the frame with the 2023 jersey, and all of a sudden, I am going to have this incredible looking frame with cards that are only $3 to $5 each that represent basically the starting team and all those signatures on there. And it's, like, I don't know. I just feel like it's just ticked so many boxes with what they've done here. And I'm so excited and revved up.
Big year ahead.
Yeah, I just feel it. I feel it.
Look, I think everything you said I can echo, that I think we're off to a flyer. The sentiment is good. I felt like it was really quiet in January and February, and it feels like everyone is up and about. Everyone's excited. You know, I really hope Select learned from last year and we don't have such a big break between releases.
Yeah.
Honestly, if we see a release in the next 6 to 8 weeks, I would be absolutely thrilled.
Yeah.
You know, big year ahead. Dean Sainsbury just asked instant win updates.
Good question.
Nothing yet, Dean. They've got form on this. Last year it took a month or so.
It was the same thing. They released the product to market. People went and fire sold off the instant wins thinking it was going to be trash or the massive mainstream sort of stuff that it was in the years previous. Select then announced this incredible prize pack, exclusive cards, exclusive numbered cards, boxes of Supremacy and Brilliance and all sorts of stuff. My expectation is if the rarity of the card is the same in a product which is equivalent,
it's going to be similar.
Well, it's going to have to be the similar prizes. Yeah. So I wouldn't be fire selling those cards as of right now. If you do want to fire sell them, we'd be in the market to buy them. So let us know.
I hope that helps, Dean. Justin, ask them if they're going to eventually do a goal of the year or mark of the year.
We'd love to see him bring that back.
No, I've talked about that before.
I would like to see it.
It's a public Mickey Mouse voting system. Leave that to a highlight
card. It is a public system, but for the record, I'd like. I know AJ doesn't like it. I'd like to see it, and I recall the ones that they had. Again, it has to have been around 05, 06.
But you don't want a predictor though for it.
No, it's more of like
he's saying for a predictor.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it could be a predictor or more of a celebratory card. They've done the celebratory cards in the past.
But it can't be a predictor. It can't be a predictor
or
for
you
something
have it
that's
in the
public
you have it in the next year's cards. So if you had it represented in, you'd have the goal of the year winner from 2023 represented in 2024. Footy Stars
as a card. I don't want to see predictors for it. Seems to be a lot less instant wins this year. Yes, Burn. I think they're one every 8 cases instead of 6 or something like that. They're a lot rarer this year. A lot rarer. Okay, time to wrap up. Thank you, Janks. Thank you, everyone, for your input. It's been amazing, as always. We are off to an absolute fly this year with Footy Stars and card collecting in general.
Yeah.
The footy's back. Everyone's up and about. Everyone's excited. Breaks are buzzing. Communities are buzzing. eBay's buzzing. In-store activities buzzing. You guys are all up and about. It's great to see. It's great for the community. And I think
people are excited.
We've got a fun year ahead.
And lots of new people. You guys would be seeing the regulars. You'd be seeing the new names popping up. Share your experiences, share your stories, give your advice. There's plenty of great resources over at cardauthority.com. .com.au. Heaps of really good resources, heaps of guides, information guides, image-based videos, everything you need. Feel free to share the love around. Help your fellow collectors out. Get excited. It's not a sprint, it's a
marathon.
That's right. Let's have a great year ahead, and we look forward to bringing you more episodes of Card Authority more frequently throughout the course of this year.
Absolutely.
And Butters and the rest of the guys will be right back onto the content updates as we continue to progress throughout the year.
Do you think throughout the year we just try to get the Zoom closer and closer in on you?
What we're gonna do is put it real close.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Oh my God, we're off to an absolute cracker. Enjoy yourself, be kind to each other, and we will see you in the next couple of weeks for Card Authority.
Thanks, everyone.
Ciao.